Junmar Fajardo with a powerful move. What a nifty play by Kiefer Avena. Vintage James Yap in full display tonight. And listen to this crowd roar. Ang ganda sana, no? Unfortunately, none of those are actually happening as the PBA continues to be suspended because of you know what. The league is taking necessary steps to get back on its feet, and last Friday, the government has given a thumbs up to team practices. Many believe that's the first step in saving what was supposed to be a grand 45th season. But with COVID-19 cases steadily rising, are the players eager or worried to return to the hardwood? That's our headline in tonight's edition of Sports Page.
The hottest headlines.
The Integral issue.
Who will join the pantheon of the great?
What's the outlook of the future of sports?
The game
The
changers.
history
The
makers.
stories that make sports eternally compelling.
Open the Sports Page.
We are opening indeed the sports page for tonight, and the subject matter is still definitely the favorite of the country, basketball. The other day we were talking to our sports officials about the steps to be taken for the return of the PBA after the IATF has already given permission for basketball and even football to slowly get back. We're going to have some special guests tonight.
Joining us today are our special guests, Tim Cone, who's the Barangay Ginebrejans coach, of course, Kiefer Avena, a guard for the NLEX Road Warriors, and PBA analyst, Andy Howe. Thank you. Welcome on the show, gentlemen.
Okay, and let's start with Tim. Tim, before we were on the air, you said it's time for us to get to work, get back to work. You were talking to all of us for that matter. What steps has Ginebra taken to get back to work?
Well, we're meeting basically every Tuesday and Friday over Zoom, and we're talking about things that we have to do to get back. The last Tuesday meeting, we weren't quite sure, and then Tuesday afternoon, the ITAF approved us. So, we're coming in tomorrow, and we're going to sit down and talk about how we're going to pair up the players. We're going to talk about, who's going to go with whom. And then we're going to meet with the coaching staff on Wednesday and try to decide exactly what all the programs we're going to try to implement at that time. And then I believe there's a coaches and managers meeting at the PBA office on Friday. And I assume after Friday, that's when the PBA will give us permission to get going. I'm hoping maybe by Monday we'll start doing our individual workouts. And that's really the first step to getting back to work for us. We'll have to take baby steps from there to see how it all works out. And we have to make sure we're doing the right protocols. Because I think if one person or two people get infected, I think that we'll probably, have to withdraw and go back to ground zero again. So it's really important that our players be disciplined, that our staff be disciplined, and so that we can move forward.
Well, this is for Kiefer. I'd like to know what's the buzz among your fellow players. Have you been talking to them? Are there any apprehensions about resuming practices anytime soon?
Well, for the players, sa team ko, of course, we're all eager to play. And also, with what happened during the players' meeting with Commissioner Willie, everything's unanimous naman. We all wanted to play. We all want the season to resume. But then again, there are just steps that we have to take, and it entails a lot of patience. This is something that we cannot rush just for the sake of everybody wanting to play. The team and our team and Lex has been talking regularly, as Coach Tim said, regarding the protocols. And I guess for the team, everything will move after the coaches and managers meeting. So for us players, we just have to be on standby as we've been doing work even before the IATF gave the permission of lifting the practice ban for basketball. For most of us, I'm sure for all the PBA players out there, we've had regular Zoom workouts. We've been trying to stay in shape as much as we can, but we're still hoping to get that sense of normalcy that we usually have in a daily practice. So hopefully we get a clearer picture after the meeting, and who knows, we might be able to save, what we said, the 45th season of the PBA. So you just have to be patient, and hopefully everything pans out for us.
Hopefully
Okay.
it does.
Dr. J, as a former team manager, assistant coach as well, how difficult is this to get back into basketball shape as a team? Because the practices as team and Kiefer we're talking about will be slowly, four at a time, before we go full scrimmage and full practice.
I think it's almost impossible to get into good shape in 1 or 2 months, if you're not going to be able to practice together on a 5-on-5 situation. Plus the fact that there are so many protocols, like we've heard, I don't know if it's true, that you're only allowed 5 persons at a time. So you probably have 30 minutes for 5 people. That would include your trainer and your physical therapist, and then another 5, and so on and so forth. So it'll take a lot of time. But the most important thing here is that everybody is so eager to get back. And I'm glad that Kiefer told that to us, because, we heard that in the NBA that some of the players are apprehensive, and it's understandable because of the situation. You're also thinking of your families and so on and so forth. But I think in general, if you go out into the public, everybody's just waiting for the PBA to start. And maybe that can boom start everything, even the business and some of the other things that we do on a regular basis. We're not talking about the fact that it becomes a natural thing, but it will certainly help if the PBA starts.
Charlie?
Yeah, just a follow up to Dr. J, because we did mention that you've been part of team management in the past. How about if there are players who are apprehensive and don't want to play? Should they be penalized if they don't want to join the practices precisely because of health concerns?
It really depends on what the commissioner and the board of governors, they themselves are going to meet again, certainly, because they're the ones who are going to give you the go signal in August if you have a certain time when you're going to start. So it really depends on them if they want to say players that do not want to join, fine. Those players that are really willing to come out and take that opportunity to be able to practice and play, fine. So I really don't, it really depends on them what they set. But I don't think you should make it like a rule. If you make it like a rule from the very top, that means everybody's got to follow the rule.
Okay. I want to make Tim Cone smile during this break. Tim, what are you going to do the first time you get your whole team together for a Ginebra practice? What are you going to do right away?
Make him sprint up and down the floor, kill him right away. No, we'll be careful. No, seriously, it's really about getting a rhythm and getting back together again. It's just going to be a lot of fun, just being with each other again. I think that's the biggest thing for basketball players. I really feel that basketball players miss that relationship that they have with their teammates and their staff and even their fans. I think that's the thing they miss the most. They don't miss the grind, the everyday going up and down the floor and and trying to get back in shape. That's going to be a chore. But being back together again and doing something you love to do, that's going to be a lot of fun. And even now, just being able to go and see 4 players at a time will be very fun for all of us to get together again. We have a lot of fun in our Zoom meetings, but it's a lot different being on Zoom than it is being, together live.
Well, you need just 3 people for your triangle. But first, let's talk to everybody. What kind of competition are we seeing? Dr. J, I'll start with you. Will it affect the way we play the game? Yung banggaan, yung readiness ng players, ano impact nito sa competition natin?
Well, if you talk about Bangaan, I doubt that there will be any real big changes, because that's the way the game is played. You've got to have some contact, though. I really feel everybody is so excited, We might only have one conference. We probably will have only one conference if we go through. So it's just one championship. Finally you have one championship. You call yourselves the best of 2020 if it goes through. So I think everybody is going to be really, really excited. But the point here is it's really nice to have a young team because it's easier to get them into shape than an older team. And I really feel that this thing is going to be wide open, you know. If we do go through with the All Filipino, it's going to be wide open. And in my belief, the team that has real good shape, that a lot of strategy, you know, you can come in with a lot of new strategies, and sometimes you're gonna be able to throw a lot of the other teams off because they haven't seen you for a long time, and they haven't seen what you've been practicing or what you've been doing. So it could really be a very very difficult conference for all the teams that are involved.
Kiefer, before we go into our first break, Kiefer, ano na-anticipate mo sa competition? Labas pa rin ang laro ng lahat?
As Doc J said, siguro feeling ko wala ngang big changes masyado. You know, everybody, as Coach Tim said, everybody missed each other and everybody misses to bang around with each other also when we're playing, and that sense of competition. So me personally, I've been almost out for 3 years in the PBA. I've played one conference and played for the national team with Coach Tim this past SEA Games, and those were my last two tournaments that I played competitively. So I guess everybody's having a feel of what I felt during the year and a half, and it's really difficult to just stay at home and really, you know, get off rhythm and miss the competition from and just watch from a different perspective. So manggigigil lang lahat dyan, and you know, everybody's excited actually to really come out and, you know, just start practice. You know, we start from something small and just be excited for practice again. It's been a long time since we've been excited for practice, right, Coach Tin?
I had forgotten that you had been out too. That's true. You've
Yeah,
been out quite a while.
I've been out for almost 3 years. You know, I played the first conference and 3 games of the second conference of 2017, and then I've only played the third conference of last year and the SEA Games. Those are the only games that I played. I played, Coach Tim, if you wouldn't believe, I've only played 36 games in my PBA career.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. Well, at least you'll be the one that can adjust to everything a lot better than everybody else. You'll be used to it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Okay, we'll take a short break. Ayaw mo yun, Kiefer, rookie ka forever.
That's true.
We'll take a look at what the other players have been doing. May balita ako na diba, alamin sa pagbabalik ng Sports Page.
Welcome back to Sports Page. Let's check out how some of the players are staying in shape despite the very long break. This is Sidebar. Ray Parks is working on his handles and footwork in a small basketball court with the help of a personal coach. His caption says he likes to prove people wrong. Kevin Racal was a little bit more resourceful. He can't go to the gym, so he made the street his own personal gym. You can see him here doing several ladder sprints. Stan the Man Pringle is still in his hometown in Virginia, where it looks like he's been playing pickup games with his childhood friend and ex-PBA import Denzel Bowles. Looks like cycling is Gio Halalon's way of keeping in shape. At umabot siya hanggang sa Kaibiyang Tunnel sa Nasugbo at Cavite. He biked for 150 kilometers. Wow. And last but not the least, here's Baser Amer looking like the Incredible Hulk. He gained pounds of muscles, it seems. Kaka-workout ba o kakakain ng sushi bake yan? So yan ang Sidebar. So you saw those training methods, but how difficult really was it, Kiefer, to motivate yourself to stay in shape while being quarantined at home? I know you always go hard, but you know it was a long period of time.
It was really difficult, Sir Charlie. Siyempre, after the first lockdown, when they announced nga na meron tayong quarantine, Sobrang sipag pa namin. My mom, my family workouts pa kami. Sobrang sipag. Like everybody wanted to work out. We were working out MWF on a strict schedule of 3 p.m. After 2 or 3 weeks of that, and then the second quarantine was announced that it's going to be longer. It died down for a bit. It kind of as you would see in the news every day, makikita mo na this is not going to end anytime soon. So, but then again, as professionals naman, on the other hand, we still have that responsibility of being in shape, keeping that, owing to that responsibility to our mother teams that anytime that practice is already allowed, we're not going to start from scratch. I've been doing a lot of readings during the quarantine. It's difficult to just practice hard when practice is allowed. You have to start already. You have to begin. Kung nakasimula ka na before pa lang, that's already a few steps ahead of a lot of people. So one thing that you want to avoid is, of course, injuries. We've been out for quite some time already, and by the time practice is allowed, you don't want to go hard right away, especially with sitting out too long. I've been there and I know how it feels. Yung gigil mo nga to go to practice right away. So your body needs that yung feel of rhythm of that basketball feel once again. So yun ang kailangan talaga na yun pa rin talaga yung motivation namin ngayon.
Okay, Tim, without revealing what is in the minds of your assistant coaches and what you're planning strategically, how hard will your practices be? I know how hard you work and what you do in your practices delivers in your championship so far. How hard will the Ginebra practices be when they resume?
Well, there's going to be a limit to what you can do because there's not going to be allowed any contact. There's going to be total social distancing. So it's really an individual workout, except you're just working out with a trainer. So we will do probably half of it will be doing some kind of shooting drills and moves on the floor. There won't be any execution type things. Hopefully we'll be able to put in some defensive movement as well, along with the individual drills, because that's important to us. And there will also be doing a lot of resistant band work, and if we feel trusted, we'll go into the gym and work out. The players will work out at the gym itself. I'm not too keen on working out at the gym right now, unless we can get a gym that's totally private to us, because we don't know who's been in and who's been out of that gym. So it's harder to maintain the protocols that necessary. But and we haven't even actually picked out a gym in which we are going to work. We want to get a gym that's going to be private to us. We don't want to go into a public gym that has people playing before or after us. So these are the things that we're still working out. But we're going to expect guys to go hard, and the guy who's going to be in charge of it is going to be Coach Kirk Collier. And I tell you what, when you're with Coach Kirk, you do nothing but work hard. I mean, his work ethic is out of this world, and he makes his players work. Keeper knows what he's like, and he's tough. So there's not going to be any easy workouts for our guys, that's for sure, with Kirk around.
Okay, Charlie?
Yeah, I'd like to direct this question to Dr. J for no particular reason. It's about the senior members on the teams. Should there be a policy as to restricting their entry into these practices so far? Let's say the coaches, some of the trainers, and the utility guys.
I really don't know why. Some of the coaches are seniors. I think we have 3 of them right now. Yeah, in the
Me?
league, no? Yeah,
I am one.
Norman and probably Coach Yang, no?
Coach
Yes,
Yang,
yes,
myself,
yes.
and Norman.
And
Yeah.
Leo is almost there also. Leo Austria.
Yeah, he's 59.
Yeah, he's very close to that. So I really don't think so. I mean, these guys take care of themselves, and you're going to be tested. What's going to happen if you don't have a coach? They were even talking in the beginning that coach can't be over there because he's senior. How is the team going to function? So I really don't believe that should be maybe one, no? And I think they will limit only 1 or 2 assistant coaches in the game. when if there is a game that comes around, the coach and maybe one assistant coach on the floor. So more or less, you're just following all the rules. But talking about what Tim just said, can I go? And Tim, I know Kurt because I bought him here, man. I was working with him 3-4 years, his first 3-4, and he's a worker. And for Kiefer, you're going to be turbocharged.
Is Asi considered a senior?
Yeah, senior player. Senior player. But a nice guy.
That's funny.
Really?
Well, there's a physical aspect, of course. We talked about it, how fit the players are going to be. How about the mental aspect, Kiefer? What do you think is the mindset of a lot of the players? It's been a stressful quarantine for everybody.
I guess ito yung this is going to be the test of every player. As I've said, I've sat out for a year and a half while watching everybody play and compete. So I took it to heart to really make the most out of the time staying at home. So you watch film. I've learned it from Coach Tim. Learning never stops, even though you're at home. You can do a lot of things. You can practice your mind with just visualization of the game. It works hard also. We were taught in Ateneo like a sound mind and a sound body. So it works hand in hand. So if you do mental practices, that could be your edge come game time because you've been preparing yourself mentally, not just physically. It is tough not being able to play and do 5-on-5 scrimmages, working around your teammates. But then again, it's an edge for someone who's really mentally tough, especially in these situations.
How close will the coordination be, Coach Tim, with the league as far as your practices, assuming that they resume already? Will there be an observer? Will there be like a report that you have to submit to the PBA? Do you have to tell them how things went?
I assume there'll be something like that. We haven't had our meeting with the PBA. That'll be on Friday, and I assume all those protocols will be there. We'll have of course, our own protocol guy. We'll have a guy that we will be strictly in charge of just making sure everybody follows protocols. And we haven't named him yet, but I have a couple of ideas of who that might be in our team. But it'll be someone who's disciplined and someone who's going to make sure that he's not going to be intimidated by the players and say, well, get away with this and get away with that. No, he's going to be very strict, and like I said, we're going to follow protocols. And then the most important thing right now is to be able to get back to work, but still stay safe. And I think both those things can be done if everybody comes together and does this as one. And I think that's really the key. We can't have a wild card out there going out and doing his own thing. He's got to be part of the program, and if this program is going to work and going to sustain. And again, this is the first step in terms of getting back to a new normal, which will be figuring out a way to practice as a team later on, and then figuring out how to have games perhaps without fans first, and then at the end, finally having games with fans.
Mm-hmm. All right. Well, now that team practices are set to resume, what should be the next step of the PBA? And that's the question we'll ask when we return after this break. So keep it here on Sports Page. Welcome back to Sports Page. It's time for your thoughts regarding tonight's headline on That's What They Said. For this episode, we asked, do you think who is the PBA player that you miss the most? And Charles Joshua Laksamana said James Yap, because he's so clutch. He has impacted me the most to play basketball, and his humility inside and outside the court has also been the mark for me to admire him the most. Joseph Ferrer naman said Castro, Perez and Pogoy, tatlo ang kanyang paborito. Magagaling talaga, kita sa galawan. Ito naman si Bicoy Sudario Daria said, Calvin Abueva, the beast, lalo kung live ka nanonood, grabe, rebound lang, hiyawan agad ang mga tao. At ito namang si Irish Chloe Pelayo, sabi niya, Stanley Pringle, dahil yung ankle breakers niya ay maganda, confident at magaling maglaro. Magaling talaga si Stanley Pringle. So that's what they're saying about the players that they miss the most. But if you think, do you think that the IATF decision is perfect timing, or you think it's too soon maybe? What do you think, Coach Tim?
Oh, I couldn't come fast enough for me and for all of us. I think it couldn't come fast enough. Again, this is not on them. This is on us to take advantage of the permission and to make sure that we are going and doing the right things. And they're going to be monitoring us and as they rightly should, and we're going to have to prove to them that we are doing the right things. That's the whole key, and that we can do it the right way, and then we can progress into another level, and that's the next step for us.
Okay, Dr. J, there is word that the competition, baka araw-araw tayo maglaro, and the gaps between schedules, it's not the same as we normally do in a conference. Is that going to impact on the teams, or will they be so excited that, okay, sige, laro lang tayo ng laro?
Well, I think if you have to play every day, so obviously it's going to be a toll, and something that you're not really accustomed to, except we do have that every other day when we get into the playoffs. No? So it's going to be a lot of difference, obviously, even for us, if we do get to work. We haven't worked for 5 months, Steve. Don't be laughing at us.
It is true.
Yeah. So what are the next steps? It looks like the PBA will be the lead here. Dr. J, anything that has to be priority first aside from the health issues?
Well, alam ko si Willie and obviously yung mga people in the PBA, plus of course our Board of Governors, they're not just going to enter this and make it stop. They're going to make sure that they're going to try everything and study this very well to make sure that nothing happens that is going to make us regret and going to have to stop us again. Also, there has got to be some sacrifices made here by the fans. I mean, like Tim, he's coaching the most popular team. Whether you tell the fans to go there or not, some of them may be hanging out. So the players cannot just come out. You might say the player, she's snobbish or what. No, it's not that. We have to be careful. When you come out of the gym, maybe you cannot go and shake your hands. He can't be hugging you, But that doesn't mean that he doesn't like or appreciate what you want to show him by going and, trying to support the team. But we just have to be patient. Because if we can get to start, I'm sure the other sports, the other leagues like the NCAA, the UAP, and all the other collegiate leagues, they're just waiting for what the PBA can show them and do for them. And then we can get off to a good start probably in sports.
Follow up once again with Dr. J, because he's the only one that can ask this question. Who are the coaches who are notorious for having really, really tough practices? And do you think they can implement those really, really tough practices right now when we resume?
The only one I know is Tim. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
I would think that he may be one. I've heard that even in the previous year, last year, I think they were sometimes practicing twice a day. But it's because of the intensity and he wants to win. And right now, if you ask him, I know he has won a couple of All-Filipino championships, but he certainly wants to win this one. And I know Yeng hasn't won an All-Filipino championship. I've known him for all his career. He certainly wants to win one. So you can see that it's going to be very tough. Yeng also has hard practices once he starts on the floor. You know him, di ba, Kiefer? He lets other people do a lot of work for about an hour, but when he's on the floor, he's very intense. So these are some of the coaches that I know. I think Leo is a little bit nicer. Leo Austria. He just called me the other day to inform me that the IATF immediately, about 3:30 in the afternoon, he called me right away. And I said, are you going to go practice? then yeah, I hope so. Or are they waiting for Junmar Fajardo to come back and say no?
We got to get this
This is-
thing started quickly before
Yeah.
Junmar goes
Before
back.
Junmar
We
gets
gotta
back.
go fast, man.
This was our perfect chance, right, Coach?
Yeah. Our opportunity.
Yeah, but
Okay.
despite
Doesn't come often.
Yeah. So, are you optimistic that we will be able to resume fully? Let's start with Tim now. With everybody's cooperation and good spirits and willingness and eagerness, will we be able to at least have one conference?
I think so. I'm not sure it's going to be a normal conference. I don't know if it's going to be one in which, we go in Araneta and have all the fans show up and we do it. I don't know if it's going to be that way. I think that we're going to probably have to be creative in the way we do it. Just like maybe the NBA is doing it now. The problem with us doing what the NBA is doing in terms of getting into a bubble, that's a very expensive proposition. And I'm not sure the league would be able to hold that kind of a situation. The Chinese league, CBA, is back in and they're back to work and they're doing it. So in terms of that, I don't know. But I think that if we can again prove that we are doing this the right way, and we are not only proving it to the IATF, but we're also proving it to the Board of Governors, that I think that we can progress into a point where we're playing games. And but again, we'll just have to see how the pandemic goes, and hopefully the spike starts to lessen again, and we're going to be back to some kind of new normal.
Carly?
Keith, if it were up to you and you could decide what the first thing your team would do when you get back to practice, what would it be?
Kiefer. Okay, sorry.
Well, probably we have to warm up very, very properly. Parang mga sasakyan niya na nagarahe na matagal tapos isasali mo kagad sa karera. So, you really have to warm up properly. But then again, just being there with the fellas it's already great for us. As Coach Tim said, I'm also very optimistic with the season, and hopefully we do get to play. We do get a chance to resume our play, even for one conference. And it's a sacrifice that everybody has to make.
We are living in a very, very imperfect situation. Not that the world was perfect to begin with, but this has been a challenge. The interesting part is that the PBA community values health and safety. And while it's unclear if the 45th season will ever resume, it's clear that the league, based on our discussion here today, we are moving in the right direction. We also miss our league so much and the entertainment that it gives all of you out there. We want to witness the cardiac games, the players, and like Kiefer and everybody else, and the coaches screaming on the sidelines. Yes, I'm watching you do that. Those will have to wait, as another familiar phrase is going to be necessary. Patience is a virtue. We'd like to thank Tim Cohn, Andy Howe, and Kiefer Ravena. And in behalf of Attorney Charlie Cuna, who's there in the studio, Sam Sarmenta here to say thank you very much. We bring to a close this edition of the Sports Page.
Bye, guys.